Hello. Good morning. See, I'm going to be working on the level flow stuff today. So what I need to do is I need to get this pregame state and everything else. I need to get all these states kind of working, which is going to be a lot of work to do, and I'm going to have to break a lot of things to do it. Alright, so what needs to happen? So I need a pregame state. I need a... Okay, so it goes pregame lobby, pregame, in-game, sudden death starting, sudden death, game over, post-game stats. Alright, so I need to make sure that I've got all the things in order to actually make this happen. So let's close everything and then try to figure out what we actually need to work with. Alright, well, we're going to be touching a whole bunch of UI files. Alright, so we've got our enum, so we got pregame, in-game, pregame lobby. So we have all of our different states, so that's good. Has anything got the actual game state? Alright, so we've got it current state, next state. And I don't want to make these separate screens. I want to make them kind of separate sub things. So, gosh, alright. Next state time, next state. We don't have the post-game stats state as an actual state. We just have like pregame lobby. So I guess the pregame lobby will allow you to look at the stats. So okay, so post-game stats is not an actual state. Alright, so that'll be a thing there. Alright, so what I need to do is I need to start making inroads into kind of into the actual UI. So we've got the UI here. And, alright. I need to do some work. Good morning, Karakan. I'm continuing the work on the game mode stuff, and there's just a lot of stuff to do with this since it touches so many systems, and we need to set up, we need to overhaul systems. Like, it's a new system is something, but working with an existing system is something else entirely, which is more difficult to do. So it's kind of difficult to figure out where to get started. So we're going to want with the in-game screen is it's going to have to contain everything. So we should just go ahead and start with getting all the different states kind of hooked up as different divs in here. So do we have any usage of the header here? No. Alright, so let's just start cutting stuff out. So what we're going to want here is I guess we'll want the pregame screen. Okay, so the next thing we'll want is okay, so we want pre-game lobby, pre-game, we want the in-game screen. In-game, main body, yeah, totally makes sense. We're going to want the, I guess, the sudden death screen, but that's any objects that we want with sudden death should go in here, but not necessarily. What sort of states are we looking at? Okay, so let's see, we want the game over. We're going to want the post-game stats. In-game post-game stats. Yeah, so we got these different screens. So how it's kind of going to work is we need widgets that are kind of outside of everything, don't we? Like some things that are, this is, I can't just break this into simple things. I need to toggle crap on and off based on the state. Alright, so what are the different pieces that we need? And it's actually some post-game stats. We're gonna need the yeah. Like, I think we basically need to break this whole thing up into a series of widgets that we can actually use for everything. Everything needs to be on the same thing. So we need the post-game stats. Fuck. This is a lot of stuff. Like, basically how we can do this is based on the current state, we will toggle these widgets on and off, and these widgets will update themselves and be self-contained, is what that we have to do. So we have our simple chat widget, we have our complex chat widget, we've got our in-game stats widget, Alright, so we'll have like our... Should try to break these apart. Alright, so we have game clock widget. I guess it's game clock and score widget. We have the announce string widget. We have the score announce widget. We have the player joined stuff. Alright, so this will be stuff for pregame. This will be widgets for pregame, pregame lobby, etc. So I think we'll also have widgets for pregame lobby. So I'll have our voting widget, which will have our stuff that we can vote on. Alright, so we'll have our game over widget. Alright. We pretty much just have to overhaul the entire UI for the game. I mean, it's only every single fricking part of this game, which is kind of nuts that we have to do it, but that's what we're going to have to do. And there's a lot to do for it. Alright, so player gets reset. Countdown to withdraw, special music, players need to reset. Alright. Yeah, it depends. I might also need to just break the game, kind of. We'll see. It may be that I am unable to actually just check everything in, but I'll have to shelf changes. Because in order to actually get the... This is kind of what happens when you rush out a whole bunch of stuff like this for just shipping the game on time, is a lot of these sorts of things just... a lot of these things don't... you just get them all done and you can't really do much with them once they're finished because they're not really made to be super great. It's just like, oh, we need a post-game stats thing. Alright, I'm just going to throw this crap in here, and if we change anything, God help us. So, it's kind of like that. It's a mess. I wish it wasn't such a mess, but it is. And I'm going to try to unmess it by making a nice widget structure and that sort of thing, so I can actually do a bit of work without having it all explode. And I need to actually separate out some of the code too, because this screen is already 1,300 lines, and that's a lot of damn code for one file. Yeah, it's not just tidying things. It's like, if it was just tidying things, that'd be different. But it's building a whole new system. You know, building a house inside of a house, and then you can destroy the outer house. So I need to just set up a nice regular structure that I can actually do things with. Alright, I'm going to be right back. Thought I heard some noises outside, but there's nothing out there. It's probably the goat man. Okay, so pre-game widget. Do we have an in-game? Game over. We're gonna need. Do we have the in-game widget? Yeah, the goat man learned how to fly. Or he swam all the way over here. Yeah, as soon as the goat man learns to fly, or the goat man contracted Michael Phelps to pull his boat over here. Alright, pre-game lobby, voting, blah blah blah. Alright, so what we're gonna want is we're gonna basically want to have collections of, we're gonna want this kind of sub-screen thing that toggles these widgets on and off based on what we want in the screen. So what we're gonna want is some sort of data structure which can hold the states. So we're going to want the actual states themselves. I should probably close all these. I don't need them. Alright, so this is going to be pre-game. So why don't we just go through these. Alright. So pre-game lobby, pre-game, in-game. Sudden death starting. Sudden death. Game over. And while this isn't a state, how do we do the post-game stats? What would we want? It's basically the pre-game lobby. allows you, if we went from game over to pre-game lobby, we actually go into the post-game stuff. So I guess the post-game stats are part of the pre-game lobby. Alright, so which widgets are we going to need? So we'll go through like a list of widgets and see if they're true, the keys are true. So we'll have like maybe a list of widgets for everything. Or should we do them by keys? So like probably easiest to do it like this. So we can kind of just do it like that. So we'll have like all the pregame lobby stuff, all the postgame stats, all the complex chat, everything like that, and we'll break it out kind of like this. Alright, so the pregame is not going to have voting. It's going to have the pregame postgame stats. I could see wanting to view the postgame stats. Complex chat, definitely. Okay, in-game is going to want to have the, I guess, kind of what we should do is we'll have keys, and then we'll make a widget and then assign it like a key, and then that'll be how we organize this. So this will be simple chat. We're going to want game and score. So game, clock, and score. Let's see, in-game stats. I guess the announcements. Score callouts. I guess there's the team lists. Player join. Alright, so sudden death starting is going to have, I guess we also want our, I guess we want all to true or something like that. Okay, so our sudden death starting is going to have, I imagine sudden death starting would just be like black screen, sudden death starts in 5 seconds, and then like that's it. So we'd probably have the announcements, we'd probably have the player join lists. Probably have the team list. Alright, and sudden death is going to have like everything. We'll have the in-game, we'll have that, we'll have sudden death to true. And all that sort of stuff will be there. So game over is going to have the game over widgets. Hello, Kento. You can hear my machine humming? Is that... It's probably my furnace that's actually on and blowing air. I guess it's just a mic boost. I probably just have a shitty mic. Alright. So I'm trying to break the current game UI out into widgets so that I can actually make something functional that doesn't suck, and that we can actually start changing stuff and things that'll be more extendable in the future. Alright, let me see if I have an error in the JSON here. No, it's good. Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so we need to start making it's basically like this widget list, and then we need something like a widget container thing that has some states that we can toggle on and off, crap like that, so these things can nicely manage themselves. And I mean, I just gotta make a big system, I guess, to kind of get back into this. So we're gonna want to get the key for this thing. We're gonna want a probably an activate and deactivate. We're going to want an update. Okay, so the next thing is going to be, we'll have like a list of widgets. So we have activate and deactivate and everything else, which are basically just empty functions. We have update, which is probably just going to be an empty function. Let's see. So we'll just show and hide the elements for the activate and deactivate by default. Update will do nothing by default. Okay, so we'll have state changed. So basically this will be what happens when we do stuff. So what we want to do is in-game widget list. We'll also want this.m active is false. Okay, so we'll have an activate and a deactivate on here. On state changed will be the thing that actually changes this thing. Okay, so we then want to extend this thing. So what should be the first widget we actually make? I'm thinking the chat widget might be the first thing that we want to kind of put together. So function, let's do complex chat, or why don't we just do simple chat widget. We're going to pass in the Alright, so it's going to call the in-game widget call, and it's going to pass in, this. It's going to pass in the root element, and it's also going to pass in the key, which is going to be, simple chat? Alright, so overflow UI work. I'm going to change this banner. C++, JS, C++ blueprints. Okay, so our simple chat widget is going to... I guess we're going to need the activate and deactivate for this thing. Nah, it should be fine. Okay, so in our in-game screen, basically what we're going to want to do is we're going to want a list of widgets. So this.m widgets equals new array. Alright. And then we're also going to want this.create widgets, should be a function. So in-game screen controller prototype create widgets. So it's going to be basically this will be simple chat widget. This.m widgets.push new simple chat widget, and then we need to get the actual chat widget element. So where is the chat widget? That's the lower left container, so it's in-game chat container. That's what it looks like. And let's also make another thing here, which is prototype.set game state, and new state should be a thing. We're also going to want an update widgets function. So we need a current state and an old state. Let's not worry about that too much though. Welcome back, Kirkan. You didn't miss anything. Don't worry. Yeah, so those new servers that we got there in Rackspace are the servers that we're basically signed on for the next 3 years to have. So they're good servers. We can do a lot with them. And the big thing is that's a pretty big investment on our part to get everything rolling. So that basically means the game's going to be here for at least 3 years from now, regardless of anything. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so set game state. We're going to go through all the widgets, and we're going to call state changed. And we're going to need that sort of thing. So, all right, I'm going to call set game state, and I'm going to do what this is, simple chat is what we've got. I'm just going to say in-game for this thing. Okay, so pretty much what we have to do here is inside of the update widgets, we need to have an update function for this simple widget. And we've got a lot of stuff to mess with. Yeah, it was also good talking with the Rackspace people, because it's nice when you actually deal with people who kind of know what the hell they're talking about with stuff. So one of the guys that was on one of the tickets where I was talking to him about some of the firewalls, and you know, I'm like, well, I want the game servers to bypass the firewall and go directly to the internet. And the guy's like, well, you know, that's a bad idea, because, you know, it's obviously a bad idea. I'm like, well, it's a game server. This traffic isn't, you know, like credit cards and everything else. And it's just always fun dealing with security people that are just like, you know, like, because, you know, in the back of their mind, they're like, yeah, this guy is right on what he wants, but he's also like because of how many idiots they deal with all the time, you know, you just know he's thinking like, God damn it, it's just another idiot dev who thinks they know something about security, who doesn't, and I don't want to put the firewall out there because they're going to get hacked because this guy isn't going to update his security packages because he's just some bum. And I'm just like, yeah, I know he's thinking that, and he's not wrong. He's totally right. That's exactly what the hell happens. So what I want to do is I'm going to move all the chat logic out into this simple chat container. So how the hell do I do that? Well, no, I dealt with a lot of security guys at Amazon and other stuff, and they always start off real hostile for very good reason. And as you work with them, they start to actually like go, oh, this guy's not just another idiot, and then they love working with you because you give them difficult problems to solve, and you work through them and make solutions, and it's actually really cool. Um, hmm. I mean, I probably should have all this stuff in here, so we don't actually need root element for any of this stuff. We just need the screen, and it's just going to be like screen.getChild element by ID. I'm going to break everything with this. Alright, so I need these widgets also to be able to register for events. So we're going to need a function here, in-game widget dot prototype dot destroy. So we're going to need an onDestroy method for this. And what do we do with the screens when we register for events? Yeah, one of the guys at Amazon who was part of application security, he was pretty cool because we found out that his favorite thing in the world is Warhammer 40K. So after a while, we just started sending him pictures of him photoshopped onto a Space Marine's body whenever we solved a problem or needed something. We're like, Jim, we need you. We need to send in the Space Marines. And he's like, all right. It's just real dumb. But if you find out what people like and you just pander to it, they get shit done that otherwise they wouldn't get done. People management. Yeah, that's another thing is what we did at Amazon, which really helped our external team relations, is we convinced the business manager to buy a whole bunch of T-shirts that were extra, and every time we went to a new team to like have a meeting to like say hello, we always brought them T-shirts, and it just always works. Like you walk into a meeting room, you're like, "Hey, I'm this from this project," and then like you just, what's your T-shirt size, and then you chuck them a T-shirt, and you're like, "What? Holy shit!" All right, so we can call unreg event. Okay, so we can call into unregister event and all that sort of stuff.